Hello, and welcome to the Sad Dads Club podcast. Here's everybody's favorite sad dads, Jim and Foo.
I think speaking of Florida, because the governor, DeSantis, he was like, get vaccines.
What?
Get vaccine. Vaccines save lives.
Since when?
It was just today. Well, he's in one of those places where even though he's mainlining the former guy, he only won by like 1.5 points.
But he has been.
So he has to play.
He has been rigorous in his.
Yeah.
In his GOP-ishness.
But he has to play it safe because he will not win a re-election if he doesn't. There's no way. So he was out there here's the thing. I looked up the stat given today's other conversations. 97%, and this is why we've been harping on this. This is common sense shit. 97% of the current cases going into hospitals are people who are unvaccinated.
Oh, yeah.
97%.
Yeah.
So this isn't stupid people that are touching things that have been vaccinated that are then like, this is people.
Well, it's crazy because when they talk about how well the vaccines work, right?
Right.
They were pretty much spot on compared to the number of people that are making it, that have a vaccine that are getting it.
Right.
Their studies were spot on as far as how effective the vaccines actually are. I think that's fascinating because you're starting to see it now play itself out in real life.
Right.
The percentages of we figure that our percentages are this and this. You know what I mean?
Right.
As far as how well it works.
Right.
And now we're starting to see
and
how
I think they were working off. I think their case study benchmarks were like 1,000 cases. I think they were using 1,000 test bodies to draw out the metrics. Like, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Absolutely fascinating. Hey, and before we go. Welcome to Sad Dads Club podcast.
Welcome to the really big show.
Episode 148. I am the Lord Foo.
And I am Gymnasium.
And, okay, so we'll keep going.
I think all of that's super fascinating.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I have a colleague, a friend of a friend, we'll just say it's an associate at work. Because at the large corporation in which I work, which if I've mentioned it before, then I don't need to mention it again, they've started to roll out like the return to office programs. So that is now a high-level topic of conversation amongst everyone. All your various divisions in the enterprise, that whether they were office-bound people or semi-telecommute or permanent work from home, these conversations about people slowly starting to transition to my dog barking at passerbys.
And Q.
And it's Amazon Prime, I'm sure. These people slowly starting to transition from their COVID work from home into return to office. These are pain points. People are starting to realize. And one of those things that the enterprise is starting to evaluate is their questionnaires on your vaccine status.
Right.
As the bank, as national, global as we are, especially from where I came from, the First Union Wachovia part of the bank, and that was a very southern massed
ranch,
right. So it's North Carolina based, so southern. So when these polls about how they're going to address the return to office programs come out, part of that is very contingent on well, how much of our workforce is vaccinated? Because how they make those plans and rotations and co-locations and all those things are contingent upon that. And so what they basically said was, we're going to start sending out a survey. Everyone has to answer the survey.
Right.
Your option,
you don't have to answer with whether or not you were actually
right.
vaccinated.
So the options on the survey are, I have been vaccinated.
Right.
I have not been vaccinated. I'm in between vaccine shots, and I choose to not disclose my vaccine status. So those are your options.
Which I think, if you're choosing the last option, you're probably not vaccinated.
Right.
Right.
Right. I mean, you certainly could be the libertarian, don't tread on me style, and that's fine. But you're taking your fate into your own hands because, So I have a colleague who hasn't had the vaccine, but last year, mid-year, he's also has in-laws staying with him, his daughter-in-law, and son, daughter-in-law. Anyway, in-laws are staying with him.
Yeah.
Times got hard, COVID, whatnot. They all got really sick. They got tested, and while he didn't get tested for COVID, he had the antibody test, and over the course of 3 of those tests at 3 different times, he tested positive for having COVID antibodies. So science says he's had COVID and he made it through,
right?
But it didn't drop him to the need to go to a hospital kind of a thing. So he got sick.
No, asymptomatic.
Right. Or, he said he got flu-ish, but it wasn't anything that was out of the ordinary for him.
Yeah.
So he didn't feel like that maybe was it. But his antibody test basically said at 3 different points, yeah, you test positive antibodies. So he hasn't bothered with the vaccine. But now you fast forward to a large corporation that's basically saying, 1, we kind of want people to start returning to office because we have a new chief technology officer who's all about touchy-feely and wants technology people to come to the office and stop working from home because cohabitation cubes are somehow better for collaboration.
We all need to sit in the beanbag chair.
So we've got that at the forefront, and you've got these vaccine questions. And so he's like, and he's high 50s. So I feel like he's a little bit also like teetering on the perspective of, certainly probably where you and I were at the very beginning. And that was, it's certainly to be trepidatious or concerned about, man, this thing got really fast ramped. The vaccines got fast ramped. Mm-hmm. Normally we would have a lot more burn in, a lot more studies and tests and projections about, is contact also vaccine, covered in it, or is it just the actual, contagion and whatnot? All those little things seem like they probably got skipped because things got fast tracked. Whereas you and I were like, that's at the back of my mind. It's rolling around. But the bottom line is I have at-risk in-house family members or people that I care about. It's fucking free to me.
Yeah.
I'm getting the vaccine so I can return to a little bit of quality of life, but also protect myself and my family, my loved ones, and people I care about. He is slightly above that mindset where because he's got antibodies and is perceived that he's had it, that's why he has antibodies, that there's no real reason for him to bother with the vaccine because, 1, antibodies, but also I'm skittish about how fast it was run through the gauntlet of approvals, which I totally understand.
Yeah.
But now you're faced with a new thing, and that is your employer is asking whether or not you've got the vaccine, and your employer is starting to roll out a plan where it wants you to come into the office. And if you say, I don't want to tell you if I've been vaccinated, or I'm not vaccinated yet, but it's freely available. And in every communication, the bank is basically telling you, you can get a fucking vaccine anywhere now. They're all over the place. It's free. We're giving you time off. It's covered to go get a vaccine. And you're still like slow dragging whether or not you're going to have fucks to give. You're taking your balls in your own hand.
Yeah.
And like wondering whether or not the Magic 8 Ball is going to say, yeah, we're going to let you go and hire some fucking Arizona college student to fill your spot kind of thing. It's rough.
Well, somebody I know said something on social media like, tell me why I should get the vaccine kind of a thing. And I respect this person a lot. I know this person fairly well. I don't want to say who it is, but I know this person is somebody who takes pills for just about everything. I'm not, I have zero fucks. Like, it's over the counter thing that I got this thing, I'm going to take it. It's no quarrels about anything that she takes over the counter for whatever it is. But then at the same time, like, doesn't want to get a vaccine. I just think that is very contradictory.
Right.
And surprising when I read that also.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know what? And that's what makes this a lot of the situation of last year, the sheer volume amount. I mean, you pull up any stat about the death rate, and while I think we could probably point to any person that would probably have a certainly less than a 12 degrees of Kevin Bacon, know someone that lost a loved one.
Yeah. And
now we've funneled, I think the national vaccine rate is still under 60%. I think it's above 55, but under 60. But you have a grotesquely biased, the amount of people that are going into hospitals and losing the battle are 97% unvaccinated.
Right.
And so it's really hard for me. Obviously, you're going to have outliers. But it's hard for me to see that and digest that as the nation as a whole, every state is seeing cases come back up.
Yep.
And it's like, how are people still not getting it? The cases that have it going. How do you not have anyone that you care about?
I think a lot of it is misinformation stuff.
It has to be. I
mean, the government's trying to track me, like all that kind of stuff that you've heard 100 times. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I think there's a lot of that playing, or the whole, like you said, don't tread on me attitude.
Yeah.
Of, you can't tell me I have to get a vaccine. But, like, what are you saying if you decide you don't want to get the vaccine for really any reason? Is it all out of, like, your own personal fear? Is it out of fear of some government control thing?
I would say, are we almost...
Or is it just opposition because you want to be opposing?
I think we're a couple months out from the year anniversary of having vaccines. But I would still posit that 56% of the nation has been the guinea pigs. And yes, there are outliers in critical risk anomaly cases of people having reactions to the vaccine. But most of those, I would wager, are knowns. Mm-hmm. So 56% of the nation-ish has taken the first leap. If you're still
what is the population of the U.S.? 320 million or something?
I don't know.
It's something like that. So you're talking like literally 100
tens of millions easy,
and 60 million people have had the vaccine,
right?
Or roughly.
I'm all for, and I certainly wouldn't write it off as there is certainly a percentage of a chance that something may go fucking south in the next 2 years that we may all be there. You have to afford that. Absolutely. Nothing is perfect. There are risks in everything. Nothing is perfect.
You risk your life every time you get in your car.
There is certainly a chance that in a year, 2 years, those of us who've had Moderna or Pfizer or AstraZeneca or what else is left? Johnson & Johnson. We may come up with side effect or anomalies to our health that may be detrimental. Absolutely. I account for that. But right now, those of you who are choosing not to get anything,
in the meantime,
you guys are shooting yourself, are creating fish in a barrel.
Yeah.
And if you don't have anybody you fucking care about, well then fucking...
Or even yourself.
Good to go.
For that matter.
Yeah, or yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you not have... Come on. Wouldn't you like to wake up one more day and complain about everything else that the liberals are doing to you?
Right.
Get the fucking vaccine.
Absolutely.
And you can do that.
Yeah.
Hey.
I mean...
And it comes with free 5G.
Here's what I want to know. What is the percentage of political breakdown of that 56%?
Oh,
that's what I want to know. Have you seen any studies?
No, but I'm sure it's probably 97% one particular
because my point on that
affiliation.
If that's the case, what you're saying,
right,
which is what I was thinking,
right,
there won't be many left to complain about the liberals.
It's hard for you to vote Republican if you're in a casket.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Think about that one. If you want another chance to vote out that other guy with a D.
I mean, it's not a win as far as I'm concerned if we're burning bodies in a ditch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, you're just one more. I have to pay. My taxes will probably go up. So come on, you guys, get the fucking vaccine. Yeah. Help contribute.
Yeah, like
fuck.
There's no benefit to me. I don't. That's not a W in my in that column for me.
Yeah.
You know.
Shit.
I mean, whatever. Anyway. So, over the weekend, I went to this cool place that my wife had read about it, and she's like, "Oh, there's this like discount place that just opened up here locally here, called like Charity Shop or Charity. I think it's Charity Shop."
Okay.
She mentioned it, and I was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll go check it out." And what this place is they get pallets of stuff from like Home Depot, Lowe's, a couple other different places.
Okay.
Pallets of stuff, and it's probably returned or clearance things that never sold or whatever it is.
Okay.
And then they palletize it all and then sell it to this charity company. And then they sell it for huge discounts, like 60% off.
Okay.
It's very cheap. And at a minimum, I would say. And so they sell it for cheap, and then the money that they earn at this place, they give away to charities. Apparently, you can even suggest charities to them.
I did not know that was the other part of it.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. And they have another one down in near past Davis.
Okay.
Anyway, there's one down there somewhere, and so we just happened to be driving by where this new one opened up, and she says, "Oh, it's right there. Let's go." So pull in, and first of all, you walk in, and it's like an old grocery store or something, right?
Okay.
But the first impression walking in the door is like, "What the fuck did I just walk into?" Because it is not nice. There's nothing. It doesn't look nice at all.
Oh, okay. It's like the prop up Halloween stores.
Yeah, but
it's just like
but kind of even worse.
Really?
Yeah, it's
shit scattered.
Oh,
Okay.
But the first thing we do is we walk in, and I've always wanted to buy a hand truck. We've always needed one. I'll probably never need one now. But there were hand trucks. I'm like, I wonder how much the hand trucks are. $25. I bought a brand new hand truck. I'm like,
okay,
this is a bargain, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool. So I'm like pulling a hand truck around with me through the store, and they have air conditioner units. They have tubs, they have refrigerators, microwaves.
We might go there for the refrigerator.
They have I mean, like all the things.
So appliances, home goods.
Yeah, and then there's home good stuff. There's workout equipment. There are tools that like Husky tools and stuff like that. Really nice stuff.
Yeah.
And it's super, super cheap. There's like, like outdoor lighting sconce kind of things. And it's all for the most part, it's all in boxes. Some of the stuff, like, you could tell something happened to it in shipping, so the box was crushed. We found there was like a tub that like the edge of it had been cracked. And if you are somebody who's good working with fiberglass, you could probably repair that without a problem.
Right.
We ended up buying a sink, like a full-on kitchen sink, because we want to redo the kitchen. And this sink we looked up was like $300. We got it for $45. Brand new.
Oh, wow.
I mean, yeah. What else? We bought something else. Oh, we have out in front low voltage lighting out in the front yard, and it hadn't been used forever because I had snipped on accident when I was trimming bushes. I had snipped the plug off of the low voltage thing, the box.
Right.
So it just never got fixed, and I think it ended up getting thrown out, and then over time all of the lights that are out front got all jacked up.
Right.
And they were plastic, so they probably just... But I found a low voltage light kit with LEDs in them.
Wow.
And for $60, normally it was $120, so I have 50% off.
Wow.
All of them work. The box was open. All the stuff was still sealed in all of its original plastic packaging. And I was like, I'm buying this too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we bought a few things, and then there's like full-on bathtubs you can buy. Brand new in the boxes. And I'm like, I want to go back and buy a bathtub.
So if you bought like an appliance, is it something where you have to get it out on your own? They don't have delivery services?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I didn't see any full-size fridges.
Okay.
But they had a lot of the small, like the little, like Arctic King size ones. I'm sure they do get some stuff. They get new stuff all the time. I'm sure they do. And there were so many things that I was like, oh my God, I want to buy that. You know what I mean?
Really?
Like,
okay.
I want to buy that. And I just skipped on a bunch of things because it was like, I don't really need it. I want it. It's cheap.
Right.
But I don't really need it.
Right.
So I'm going to skip on it. So I ended up buying the 3 things that I thought I wanted. And man, we just got a great deal.
So it sounds like I've seen these on channels on YouTube before. It's like the guys that'll buy like a pallet of returned Amazon shit for $1,000, and who knows what's in it? Kind of like just returned shit.
Well,
maybe broke, maybe not. But
apparently, some of it is Amazon pallet stuff too.
Oh, is it?
And
okay.
I don't know if because the last time I looked into that process, you had to get it from Vegas. You had to go pick it up.
Oh.
So I don't know.
Oh, that like the Amazon, the warehouse shit?
The Amazon warehouse return thing, and they would palletize it, and you would buy it and go get it in Vegas.
Yeah.
Now I don't know. That was a few years ago, so I don't know if they've added some because Amazon's so huge now,
right?
Compared to
they can put an owner into space. So.
I mean, I don't even know if you can have it delivered. I think you have to go pick it up.
Do you? And
then you have some idea what's on the pallet, and then even then. The bill of sale of what's supposed to be on the pallet isn't always correct. It deviates a little bit somehow. Like sometimes things don't get accounted for.
Like the guys that kind of eyeball the storage. What is that?
Storage
wars. Yeah, you get a look in it, and someone probably doing inventory went, there's a American Girl doll, some Ryobi tools,
right,
and a Traxxas, and there's a whole bunch of shit underneath it, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, those videos are pretty interesting. You watch the guys with the Amazon, they do the Amazon pallets, and they go through all the stuff that's in the pallet, and they're like, here's a bunch of garbage, basically. Like, that's just throwaway. But look at this, and look at this, and look at this.
I told, so back to the story, I told Venus that you had been there, but I couldn't remember the name of the place. It was Charity Shop?
Charity Shop.
And I think, because I had told her the directions, like, oh, it's over the freeway, and she said in the old Kmart, she knew where it was.
The old Kmart is becoming two places now. I forget what there's actually a place in part of the building, and the other part of the building they're putting something else in, but it's not in that building, but the one on the left, like next to Smart and Final.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll know when she gets there, or I'll tell her.
I mean, like I said, it's garbage inside. As far you're not going there for
organization and prettiness.
Yeah, making it look nice.
Yeah.
A lot of things. What they had in the back, which was interesting, was a lot of the carpets, like
rugs,
like area rugs.
Oh, okay.
That were like in the back, and you can they were cheap, man. Some of them were dirty. I'm sure you can clean them or whatever, but if you were looking for if they had pallets full of just cheap ass, like super crappy cheap ass flooring. But if you were trying to outfit like a shop or some kind of business, and you needed cheap flooring to put down for your business, man, you could make a killing.
They had stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, really impressive the amount of things they had.
That whole concept of purchasing warehouse shit, it always grinds my gears because you hear, not for this type of products, but like cars, like the wholesale auctions or like repossessed auctions for cars is like this just out of reach, obscured industry that's like paywalled. And it's like you know that there are people that have these, whatever the license is, or you have to be a car dealership or something to buy these cars that have been either repossessed or they're being wholesaled at an auction that like plebeians that you and me
can't get into.
Yeah. But they buy these cars and swap these cars amongst each other at prices that would just
blow your mind.
Fucking blow it.
Yeah.
It's like, how do I want those type of options to do something.
Yeah.
But congratulations, you can buy Husky tools and you can find out how to do that. But like when it comes to affordable cars, tell you what, come back here, and I'll show you. You want to know how? I need $125 a month for this special license, and then I'll tell you. Like, well,
yeah.
Chandler
has a friend that I think he has some kind of car resale license. Like,
really?
Yeah, and so he can go and buy cars at auction.
Really?
He lives in Florida now. He was living in San Diego for a while, but yeah, he in fact, when Melanie was looking for her car, that was sort of like a side talk thing. Kind of hard to make it happen when he's in San Diego, I think. But I think what's fascinating is the guys that buy, like, there's like whole YouTube channels that are built on going to Copart,
yes,
and buying a wrecked vehicle of some kind, and then bringing it in as a project car and then rebuilding it.
Yeah,
I mean, there are people that are doing that in general, even aside from the YouTube side of it.
Yeah,
where they're selling a salvage
and you
title
can do
vehicle.
those too. Like in Copart, you have like a certain just as without paying into a membership, you have like a limit that you can bid on the cars. And it's like there are options. There are options if you're looking to get something that's way trashed and in your area. There are options, but then there is like a certain amount of paywall to get you to a place where it's like, yeah, you can. There's an auto bid option in there, and there's all of a sudden the delivery starts kicked in, and your limit of what you can pay for gets increased. It's like you're so close, and then it's like a lot of this stuff. It's like, well, I don't necessarily want options that all involve salvage titles. Show me where are the cars that get turned in as trade units that aren't wrecked, aren't salvage titles, but you guys are trading amongst each other between $5,000 and $10,000, and they're probably worth $15,000 to $25,000.
Well, I think there's a difference between Copart and normal, like auction.
Sure. Oh yeah.
I think that's.
But even they have the paywalls for the like you and I. Like I said, I have an account.
Yeah.
But I am locked at
What you can
I think
bid?
it's 5,000 or under of
I
like
see.
what I can bid without paying more
Yeah.
as a member to then get that unlocked to make sure that I'm not bidding on a 50,000 thing
And can't afford it.
Yeah, kind of a deal.
Yeah, I think that's all that stuff's super fascinating, and like there is a whole back end. I mean, you think about when you go and trade in a car at a car dealer, that car doesn't necessarily sit at the lot and then they recondition it and sell it on the lot. Most of the cars that get traded in get sold out to auction.
Right.
And there is a whole back end of this industry that most people don't even think about. Yeah. It's fascinating.
I want to be at the wholesale auctions. I want to see that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you see what they pay for cars when you do a trade-in. You know what I mean? And you're just like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
You didn't give
Well,
me
we
that.
got to make money on it too. And they probably make a few $100 or something just to turn it around and sell it to an auctioneer.
Mm-hmm.
And then the auctioneer sells it on their thing for whatever they can get. It's an interesting thing. Then they don't even they're not wrecked necessarily, you know.
Yeah.
It's
like all these Jenna got me turned on to something. It's like a municipality one, like not cops, but counties and state entities, that have that are turning around their products or things that they've repossessed on drug seizures and whatnot. Yeah. But even then, those are like few and far between. I'm sure most of those go to like auctions, like vehicles.
Yeah.
But if you wanted office equipment or shit like that, like, there's tons of places you can buy old municipality stuff.
I mean, maybe you want just a black and white Caprice, you know what I mean?
Right. You know, I'll fucking find a way to repurpose an engine from a Crown Vic.
Yeah, from an
Plenty
Interceptor.
of buses. Man, if I ever wanted to buy a school bus from Texas, fucking I know where to go.
I want a hydrogen powered like city bus. You know what I mean?
We'll just hollow it out and just put the motor in the back and then do wheelies in a school bus.
Well, no, you buy them and then you make motorhomes out of them.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That just seems like, I mean, oh gosh, that sounds awful. That sounds like an awful job. I mean,
making a motorhome out of a school bus?
Yes. Yes.
This is probably a special kind of love.
I mean, it's a special kind of person that can like see that project all the way through.
Like soup to nuts.
I mean, I guess you would either have to be real good at building your own cabinets or be ordering them, and those aren't cheap. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No? Not your space?
No. And those are crusty. If it's a school bus, oh, gosh. No thanks.
But they got good bones. And diesel, most cases, right? Yeah.
Yeah, more than likely.
So you bought a sink.
Yeah.
And haven't installed it.
Oh, no.
Because you have a kitchen remodel plan that goes out until...
Well, there is no time frame.
Right.
It's basically like we have picked out like what kind of granite we want to do, a granite tile stuff. So we have a granite tile that we want to put in, and I'm not a tile person, so it's a kitchen, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's got to look good. So I have a lot of trepidation over trying to tile my countertops.
Yeah.
So I'm a little nervous about that. And so when I get nervous about a project like that I don't really know enough to do necessarily, then I tend to drag my feet. You know what I mean?
I can tell you this, if there's any help, my sister and her not fiance homie like retiled with no experience.
Yeah.
Retiled like an outdoor pavilion.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
It's just okay?
Well, hey, I'm being honest.
Okay.
So if they can do
okay,
then you'll be fine.
Well, I mean,
because you have a pool of talent to pull from.
I have tiled my bathroom, our master bathroom
floor.
See,
you even have practice.
And I have learned from some mistakes because I'm going to end up pulling that tile out anyway to redo it because it's not the right color anymore.
Right.
But there were some mistakes made, and I've learned from that. But that is flooring, right? This is the kitchen countertop. And so I have I have worries about doing the kitchen countertop properly.
Yeah.
And number one, the tile that we have picked out is finished on top, obviously, right?
Okay.
The edges, however, where it's been cut to make the tile, are not polished. So that means that you have to polish the edges that are going to be around the edge of the all.
Like the, okay.
You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
Because it's tile. It's not tile that has like the curvy pieces.
So it has no bull nose or anything like
No.
that. You've got to.
It's just going to be a square like tile come out to the edge, and the one on the edge around the edge of the countertop will sit underneath.
Okay.
And so this edge that's going to be sort of sticking out there, all those pieces will have to be polished on one side.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of stuff like that that's like, I mean, I can go get diamond polishing pads, I guess, and wet sand them all and polish them that way.
Yeah.
But that's a whole lot of work, and then that's a lot of money. Like one tile is like $5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, if I cut this tile up or whatever.
Yeah.
Or actually, this isn't even one that would be cut. This would be a whole tile. If I polish that edge and it doesn't come out right, well, now I'm just throwing money down the drain.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that kind of stuff.
You could buy, I mean, because I just sort of ran into this with Xander.
Is he re-kitchen?
No, but he wants to, it'll take me a second to get there, but we'll loop back into it, I promise. He wants to create like a diorama of two Gundams, so like the robot suit kind of people, Japanese anime. He wants to create a specific scene where, because he's got one Gundam that has like a laser sword, so think lightsaber, for all intents and purposes.
All I can think of when you say Gundam is whoop, whoop.
Welcome
Gundam
So Pacific Rim?
Huh?
Pacific Rim?
I don't know. What is that?
So the suits, the big, fuck you, man. The big suits that humans drive. Robots.
Okay.
He wants to create the scene where one with a laser sword like is running through another one and has cut it in half.
All right, I gotcha.
And he wants
exposing the innards.
So he wants this like frozen scene where one has been essentially sheared.
Sure.
And the other one is like posing as he's run through it.
All
and so he has this vision.
Right.
And he has built a couple Gundams, but this is the next level.
Right.
And he's like, and so I want this one, and it'll be like all weathered and like old and stuff. And so I was explaining to him, I'm like, well, you don't want to do that, like with the one that you're, you don't want your pilot to be your final product. Have you done any weathering on any of the Gundams that you've built before? No. Have you painted them? No. Have you done any like damage stuff to make it look like they've been in battle? No.
Right.
And I said, so here's the deal. You need this at some point. You need to practice these things.
You got to build one with some damage.
Right. I said, what we can do, I will buy you, in order to get him detached from an electronic device. I said, so here's what, because he's real passionate about this. I said, it costs relatively nothing to buy, I think, a decent sized Gundam to actually have practice material with. It's about $40, like a decent grade Gundam. I said, you build that one, you take an arm, and you try a painting technique.
Right.
You take the other arm, and you do bullet holes and something else. And then on all the appendages, painting techniques and whatnot, you take all of the things that you've been watching on YouTube on like how-tos and blah, 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 and you use that as like a test bed. So you don't have to, and here now my full circle. So if you bought one tile, you could probably get a series of tests on it before you would realize, so $5.
Yeah.
And it's a set of equipment, which probably would have dual purpose at some point anyway, going down the road. Or you could rent it. I'm sure Home Depot or Lowe's would rent some of these tools to see whether or not you're going to know right away, can I actually polish this tile to the effect that I need? No. Well, then now we need to create like a corner piece that's made out of something different and a different design altogether.
Well, here is the only reason why I think this is possible is because in a prior workplace, the owner of the company would get into these projects, and one of the projects that he got into was basically completely redoing his house.
Okay.
Up in Newcastle, and part of that was he wanted like granite countertops on. Essentially, he had said it multiple times. All of the horizontal surfaces in the house he wanted granite on everything.
Okay.
So in order for him to afford to be able to do this, maybe just cut down his cost, I don't know which one it was, he wasn't the kind of person that would shy away from doing the project on his own or figuring out how to do the project on his own.
Right.
Which meant that he was buying slabs of granite and buying the tools necessary for cutting and polishing and beveling the edges of all the granite pieces.
Right.
Which meant he had like a skill saw, like diamond cutting blade with a rail that ran across the whole granite slab that he could run with water on it, with a GFCI breaker, in case everything got wet.
Right.
He could saw it, and then he would take his like a router with a diamond blade and then cut it so it would have the bevel, and then he would come back and cross with diamond polishing pads and water, and then they were stepped. So like you had a rough one, right, and then,
rough, medium, polished, probably.
Yeah.
Right.
He would do that, and it turned out great. It was like exactly how you do it.
Right.
Apparently, that's part of the reason why granite's so expensive, is there's a lot of labor involved in the polishing and cleanup aspect of it all.
Right.
So I mean, I know it's doable, especially on the pieces that I'm not talking about, like a slab that's an inch and a half or whatever. These are tiles, so they're probably about that thick. Was it about less than half an inch?
Okay.
3/8 of an inch, maybe. I don't know exactly how thick they are, but it's just that edge of a tile that would be exposed when it's on the top of the counter to the edge of the counter, right? Or in some cases, it would be that edge and this edge on one piece.
Okay.
But so you would have to finish down on every part of the countertop that would be facing out, right?
Right.
That edge would have to be polished all the way around on all those pieces. So it's like a little bit of, I want this, we want it to look like X.
Right.
But am I going to have the skill and patience to make it look like X? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's sort of where I fault. And then the other big one is, so like I said, we got a sink. Well, I can tear the countertops and the sink out. That is not a problem.
Right. Yeah.
But putting an undermount sink in with tile, like I don't know how the hell that works. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I don't know. What I don't understand is, how do you get the tile? I have a lot of questions like that.
Okay.
I don't have answers to.
Okay.
And so like those sort of things that like, here's how I would tackle this, and am I doing it the right way? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't want to mess it up so that at some point in the future
you don't have another right.
Oh shit, there's a leak and I don't know how to deal with the leak
or
whatever it is, or water's getting in behind the undermount sink somehow through the tile that I laid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know how to deal with that. So there's a whole lot of aspects of doing this sort of project that I don't have any idea about. And I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, yes. But nobody covers the thing that I want to see. That's the problem. Like everyone does an undermount sink with granite slab. And we're not doing granite slab. That's fucking easy. But if you're doing tile, it's a totally different thing. And no one's covering that. And so it just raises a lot of questions that I don't have the experience for it.
Right.
And so when I run up against a situation like that where it's like, yeah, I really want to do. We really want to change the countertop, and obviously we want to refinish the cabinets and like all this stuff. And there's a sort of a like, well, in order to do this, we got to start here. So like the cabinet's got to get finished first,
right?
And then you put the countertop in, and then you do the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So we can go buy flooring and start putting flooring in the house, but that doesn't help when we still need to do the kitchen.
Right.
You know? So
yeah.
It's like you get these catch-22s, and then and especially with the kitchen's case with the tiling and the sink, or the sink itself, it's like, I don't really know. I mean, I see that the people that put my countertops in did a shitty-ass job.
Yeah.
So whatever I do needs to be better than what they did.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Do I have the ability to do at least that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Do I have the skill to put in what I would consider to be a well-done job for a guy that's never done it? I have no idea. And so that thought process just slays my initiative and makes me drag my feet.
I can see that.
Yeah.
And here's, so I have an adjacent thing to that, and that is, so I did the whole house fan.
Right.
I did a lot of that while Venus and I have talked at length, probably for close to a decade now, of how useful and how much we would really want a whole house fan, and we've covered it here on the show. Like how much, we're in a climate space now where I had put in a good amount of time into product evaluation, a couple install videos, but really the install videos and what was going to be encompassed was not something that I personally felt was really that far outside the wheelhouse of anything else that I've done in the house. I have wired in a ceiling fan. I've wired in a new junction box. I have run raw, brand new Romex or house wiring. I've done all of those things. I've cut drywall. I've patched drywall. All of those things, while not in this scope, I've done in like little nooks and crannies as far as somewhere around the house, but they have all been smaller in aggregate.
Right.
So when I looked at what had to be done, it was kind of like, well, as a whole, I have not done this. But in piecemeal, I've done all of these things.
Right.
So I didn't really give much consideration to this isn't something I can do. It's just something I haven't done yet.
Mm-hmm.
Venus's perspective was how it was conveyed to me was, you haven't done this. That seems risky. We should pay a professional to do it. And so while I understand that concern, to me, I'm looking at all of the pieces and parts, and I'm thinking, this is
not that big of a deal.
This is not that big of a deal. And when we get to the place where we are, where the amount I've already purchased this thing, and we've been talking about this thing for so long, it was like, this is a done deal. Like, why I didn't even give any consideration to, well, I've bought a thing, and now I have to have someone come out and install it. It's not like I'm the spa and the 220 line. It's like that is a professional type of deal.
Right.
You're in the breaker box. I'd rather pay a professional to do that. You have to work with the city anyway. This is fine. This requires no permits. I've done all the little things. I didn't give any consideration to it. But it was like almost like a pain point for Venus that I didn't give any consideration to having a professional do it.
She was worried that
and
you weren't worried.
Right. And I think there was a certain consideration, too, that if I fucked up and it looked really bad, she wouldn't be able to complain to me, because I would be like, well, fucking, it's just, this is life and we'll deal with it and Band-Aids until it's fixed.
Yeah.
But if she had a professional come in and do it, she could at least bitch and moan or have a warranty about to a person.
Right.
That you fucked up here, you ruined this thing.
Yeah, I get that.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like, I'm not going to let that hold me up on putting in this thing that in the time it takes me to install it, we will start seeing returns on the investment.
Sure.
Like ready to go kind of a thing. So part of your like hiccup process,
Yeah.
I can see because some of that I certainly share. There are certain things like here in the front yard, right outside the front window, both Venus and I would like to do probably some sort of concrete patio entertainment pad, like right here in the front of the house.
Right.
A lot of that and the pouring of concrete, it's like, and the cost and like, it's like I can pour concrete.
Sure.
You rent a mixer, you pour concrete. But with the tree, and I don't know, and then what's the longevity and how far do I really have to go down? I'm in the same place.
Yeah.
Like I get lockjawed on.
Well,
maybe later.
Well, that's the thing.
I don't know.
I mean, for me, the kitchen is one of the most used parts of the house.
Right, and there's that too.
And so, like, starting the project and like not having a countertop for who the fuck knows how long.
Right. Plus, you're fully employed, so you as a DIYer, you know, you're doing this in between downtime.
Yeah,
and living in the space.
Yeah, living and trying to make meals and. You know what I mean?
Right.
And also because now you've cleaned out some of the cabinets or this and that and the countertops.
Right.
Like
you're limited on what you can do.
Well, you have a mess because you've moved all this shit that has to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I just get very like I guess it's overwhelmed. I get overwhelmed with the process of it all. Like I know in order to do this, I've got to do X, Y, and Z. Well, we got to break out the counters in order to finish redoing all the cabinets. Mm-hmm. Well, that means you're under the gun to get the cabinets done so that you can get back to tiling the countertops.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like once you start breaking out the old tile so that you can refinish the cabinets completely, because otherwise you can't get up under the tile to refinish it properly.
Right.
So you got to take the tile out to do that. Well, once you break the first tile out, you are now under the gun to get the cabinets done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that scares the crap out of me. And I've watched a lot of fucking shows. You know what I mean? Like home shows, they just make it look so easy.
Yeah.
But it's never that easy.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of like recoil on that. You know?
Yeah.
Like, well, how many weeks is it going to take to finish the cabinets so they look good and get a countertop and backsplash installed properly?
So would you say that the thing that would start making that easier would be once you have 2 less people also in the home?
I mean, maybe. I mean, you know, Chandler can be a great resource in help.
Right.
But also sometimes he's not that great of a resource because he wants to hurry things along, and that comes at quality. There's a cost.
Sure.
And this is one of those times, this is one of those projects where I am now looking, because this is our home and this is the kitchen that gets used more than any other room in the house. That this needs to be high quality work.
This needs to be dialed in.
Yeah, exactly.
No room for compromise.
Exactly. So this is where I get very
meticulous.
Yeah. And like I want the help, but also don't really want to be an asshole.
Right.
But that's what it's going to end up being, is me being an asshole about.
I think you'd be justified in that, though. Sometimes you just need to set.
Yeah.
You have the tone.
Yeah.
Like, bink. You know, we've run into that maybe some other places where you're volunteering to do something for a friend, and it's like I need. Hi. Perfect example.
Yeah.
When we were talking, I think it was in one of the times we were helping out Angie and Mike.
Yeah.
And they were asking for helpers for painting. And Mike was brutally honest. He's like, come and help, but there's no real, I think he said, the kids, I don't think he included the kids. And I said, and just to be upfront, I'm not including bringing Piper and he's like, I get it.
Yeah.
Because the bottom line is, this was Dragon's first home. Mike had a bar of quality, and I understood that, and he understood that, but we both verbalized it, so we knew we were on the same page, and we were okay. It's like, hey, the kids would love to come over and help, but this isn't fucking preschool. He wants someone that can help.
No, I know, but I think the difference being, like,
I'll tell your son.
Well, I mean,
dial it up, Data, so get the fuck out.
Like his ability to understand just what I'm trying to get across, and then maintaining that level of. Oh
yeah,
it's like his ability to do that is very limited, I think, and that's where if he's gonna help, like, great, I would totally appreciate the help, but also, like, this has to be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Is there any way for you to break off in a module of any way part of the kitchen that you could test some part with? Yes. We've
talked about this, actually.
Okay.
So we have a bar and then an L-shaped kitchen that ends at a stove.
Okay.
Oven stove. And then on the other side of the oven stove is a small cabinet between the stove and the fridge that has a small countertop on it.
So there's your pilot.
And I have said this multiple times to my wife, like, hey, this piece of cabinetry right here would be perfect for me to bust out all the tile and then practice laying tile on it.
Yes.
To see if I can even do this, because at the minimum,
we're
I
on
could
the same page.
Yeah. At a minimum, I could just lay some fucking plywood on top and be like, okay, for now, we're gonna have plywood.
Right. This is why how we have a podcast, because we're on the same fucking page.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And I have said this to her, and she's like, yeah, and she totally sees what I'm saying. She gets it, but then, like, I forget that. I forget that this is an option, and I start looking at the big picture and going, fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
so
fuck.
You need to settle on your pilot.
I do, actually.
Yeah, there you go.
I need to...
Bite size.
Yeah, what I need to do is go buy, like, I don't know, 15 tiles and a backsplash, a bunch, because we have one of the tiles, and we have one of the pieces of backsplash we want to use, which is like the netted thing with preset tile.
Yeah.
So we have one of those, and we have one of the tiles. So I just need probably 10 or so tiles.
And a 3-day weekend.
And some time.
Labor Day.
To break that motherfucker out and then test laying tile on that and see how it goes. But like I said, even aside of that, the real work is going to be what happens around the sink. Like, I that's where I'm struggling to figure out how to make that happen or to make it work properly. I have ideas. I don't need to go into depth about it. I just don't know if what I want to do is correct or if that's how it's done.
Would it be safe to say, though, you would have more understanding if you completed the pilot first? You would have more working knowledge of how things are going to work together, the amount of labor working around.
I mean, I'm not too concerned about, like, how to lay tile out and that kind of stuff. That doesn't worry me. What worries me is getting the, like, rounded cuts around the corners of the thing and getting the sink so that the tile comes up over the sink like that and sits so that you don't have a gap or that you don't have to add an extra piece in there. You know, like, I just want it to come up kiss the top of the.
Yeah.
And so I just don't know how that's accomplished. If it's an undermount sink and you're mounting it to the bottom of plywood, see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now you've got a gap. Or do you notch out the plywood all the way around so the sink fits into it? Like you put the sink down and draw a thing around the sink and then notch it out so that it's enough that the sink sits flush to the plywood and then tile up out over the sink.
Okay.
These are all questions I don't know the answer to. So, it's like I don't know how this works. And then the other big problem is cutting tile to fit around where the sink goes so that it's clean and looks good, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, do I just need to buy some of the black granite tile and like go get
practice some?
Yeah, like start getting like, I don't even know what you would use, diamond hole saws that cut radiuses. I don't even know.
Yeah. That sounds about right, because I want to say when the guys showed up, it's, a hole saw that
would cut the corners.
Or a a
jigsaw?
Cylinder sander that has diamond, I'm making all kinds of jerk moves here.
Yeah, you are.
Not a pole sander. God damn it. Well, there's a name for that.
Are you
tool.
talking about like a finger sander?
Yeah,
like a little thing that has
with a carbide.
Yeah,
that you could round out
Oh.
a piece of ceramic.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because you could certainly notch it with a diamond blade,
Yeah.
but in order to make it smooth, you're going to need a diamond or a carbide, like a cylinder sander. Pretty sure that's what we called it, to round out the nibs.
And then
nipple.
like all of that stuff would have to be polished out,
Right.
to make it match the top, because the top is nice and shiny. And then you just cut those, and then they're all dull, and then you know what I mean. So it's like it's a lot of work, but the reward could be amazing.
Oh yeah,
like you have a gorgeous countertop, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it's very overwhelming. If anyone knows anybody that knows anybody, let me know.
Yeah. I think we're close, so I don't have to grill everybody on the hot sauna of installing. We'll save that for another day. But I have a small anecdote from just like the smallest things, like what that fuck me.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
The tiny things.
So,
I get all the concern that Venus had about me not doing a professional job. Nailed it. Everything. It's awesome.
I'm
going up.
I'm going to inspect your work after the show.
Right.
I'll give you some fucking feedback.
Oh, you'll see what I'm getting at too. I get everything. Like I said, I think on Sunday I got everything 90% installed, but I didn't have foil, like HVAC tape to get some seals on some things. So I wanted to do that till the 9th. Like everything is sealed up perfect. So Monday, Home Depot supply run. I making a run up in the attic. This is the 10% button-up work. I have done everything.
Oh no!
Just,
meticulously.
It's a fucking professional. I almost say it. This shit was professional.
All right.
It was awesome. I am up in the attic. It's not as hot as it was Sunday, but it's 105 degrees easy.
Yeah.
I've got my tool belt on. And instead of taking my impact up there, I took the normal drill.
Okay.
And I've done a couple things, like moved a couple strappings around. Everything is fine. I've HVAC taped the register and an insulated tube insert. I am wrapping up really pretty much what I've done here. Now, my ingress and egress of the place where I ended up putting the fan itself required me to make an extra long fucking way around to get back out of the attic. This, I am buttoning shit up. I am done.
Yeah.
I have not ruined anything.
Oh, no.
I am beginning this claustrophobic tunnel crawl out of where I was, completing the last tape, and the fucking drill from my tool belt as I'm crawling out falls off my belt and hits the drywall.
Oh, no. On the ceiling?
In between the studs.
Okay.
So it hits drywall of the ceiling beneath me, obviously.
Yeah.
And I get, oh God, are you okay? And you wouldn't fall? Yeah, I'm fine. It wasn't me. I didn't fall. But in the back of my mind, I'm like,
oh no,
damn it.
What the hell just
And as I'm continuing to crawl out and complete the last one eyes, I hear from the hallway, oh my God, that's a crack in the ceiling. And I'm like, fuck. And like a big circle mark, like, did something
fall on the ceiling?
Did something fall on the ceiling? And yeah, sure as shit, as I had completed what would be like the 99% progress of this job, the drill fell from my belt and landed and created like an impact, a circle, the end of the drill.
Okay, the bottom of the drill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bing, contact point on the drywall.
Yeah.
In between the studs. So yeah, everything from the force of the drill and the NiCad 5-pound fucking battery.
It's basically falling the length of your thigh.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And it was a good, probably at least 3-foot drop.
Okay.
To the drywall, created an impact crater on the bottom side.
Oh no.
And then it created like this San Andreas fucking down 4 feet of the hallway.
Oh no.
As it worked its way down like a drywall seam. And motherfucker.
Yeah, I hate that.
Like, I was 99% done. Everything was awesome. And fucking drill drops.
That would be the thing that happens to me too.
And I just went, well, there we go.
You're living with it, honey.
Yeah.
Good luck.
So I finished everything up. I'm buttoning everything up. And, where I was like, I'm done. Now I've been in the fucking sauna attic.
Job well done.
I was like ready to put the gold star on.
Pour me a drink.
Ice cold drink, beverage. And then I can't because I can see this San Andreas shit going down my hallway. And so I take my tool belt off and I toss my fucking drill into the garage. I walk in here. I should have fucking that drill.
Fuck you, drill.
I should have known the moment I went. I should have just taken the impact up there. No, take the drill because I might run out ahead on these non-impact rated screws. But no, take the drill. Yeah, okay, I'll take the drill. We'll be fine. I came in here into the hot-ass garage. I opened up the paint cabinet, and I pulled out the fucking spackle. And, I'm, up in here, and I'm just spackling the San Andreas, And then as I were eating dinner, I'm like, I need the goddamn ceiling hallway paint so I can paint that over the weekend.
I was done.
I was fucking done. So it all works. It fucking does awesome stuff. But now I've got another project where I have to fucking paint the goddamn hallway ceiling.
Oh, no. Well, at least it's just a ceiling.
Because the drill fell.
I mean, at least you didn't fall through or something,
Right. Of all the things that were afforded opportunities to me because I'm a non-professional, the fucking drill fell.
Right. Well, you basically... That could have happened to anybody, really.
Right.
I mean, you could have.
Right.
You literally could have been a professional guy that came here to do this job and then done that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was afforded a much bigger mistake.
Yeah.
And it was the one that anybody could have done is the one that hit me.
Yeah.
And it was like, fucking, really?
I was up in the attic doing something, I don't know, it must have been a year or so ago. And I stepped a little... There's a corner of the attic that has, I want to say it's a 2x6.
Yeah.
And then there's drywall on the ceiling that's over our closet. And I stepped onto the 2x6, but a little too far over the drywall and just right through the drywall.
Punched a foot.
And then I got into the closet and went, fuck. And so I got the spackle out and I like filled spackle into all the cracks and just kind of pushed it up. And then now it's falling back down.
Oh, is it?
So I bought drywall to do a repair.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, like I'm going to cut a hole in my fucking ceiling and repair it. This is going to turn out like shit. And so I'm petrified of fixing this thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it needs to be taken care of, but it's one of those
It's on the list.
I was doing something else and went through the goddamn ceiling in the closet.
Now you've got a new project.
And it just never ends.
Anyway.
All right.
We're good.
Well, don't forget to wash your hands.
Return the cart.
Wash your ass.
Wear the mask.
Get the shot.
Do the kindness.
And did we forget anything?
No. Yeah, we did.
All right. We'll do those things.
We'll catch you next week.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.